Hi, welcome to SBR TV. I'm Peter Loshak. This is our weekly football recap with Doc. Today we're doing it on Tuesday, so the Monday night game has already occurred. We're going to take a look back at NFL Week 4 and College Football Week 5. Doc, thanks again for being here.
It's a pleasure, Peter. Thanks.
All right, so let's start off with the Thursday South Florida at Pitt game. Pitt was a big Brock Landers side. Was that a big public side as well?
No, that game worked out okay for us. It was, we did all right. We had a little more South Florida, so that started out okay.
And then Friday was Utah State, a sharp side?
Yeah, they were big time, but just enough BYU where it wasn't so bad. I mean, it was a ton of Utah State. The little guys all had them and everything. Two big guys laid BYU -7, which helped. That was about it, though. But it was about a wash, that game.
On the Saturday games, one thing I want to start off by asking you about was a Tulane-Army game, because you said in our last call that Army was going to be a big Billy Walters side, and of course it did wind up winning and covering very easily, and the line went up a little bit at first, but then it went back down to 7. So what happened with that game?
There was another group on the other side,
okay.
But he bet that game early and liked it. But like I said, he also loved Illinois and Utah, so you see what happened there.
Right.
Like I said, he's the best that's ever lived, and he might go 55% on his best year. So that's just the way it is.
Well, I consider myself to be about 57, 58%, but I don't know. Anyway, Alabama, they covered easily at Florida. What was up with that?
I don't want to talk about the Alabama game. Skip on to anything else.
I mean, it just seems like Alabama for a while now has had these favorite lines, when they're at home against good teams, it's a double-digit favorite. When they're on the road against decent teams, they're like a significant favorite, and they keep covering those lines. Why don't you guys just...
Yeah, they obviously weren't high enough. I thought 4 was a pretty good number. The sharp guys took 4 early in the week, and I closed 5, and I finally got some +5 money probably about an hour before game time, so it wasn't a complete disaster. It's just one of those games again. Not to keep picking on the same spot. I see a couple of sharp books with 3.5 up until kickoff. They got to be getting reamed.
Right.
There's no way they're getting Florida money +4 when they can take 4.5 at Chris or 5 with me. There's just no way.
Right.
But that's how they run their business. That's fine. But there's no way they can possibly be getting Florida money because there was none out there.
Right. Wow. So Alabama and LSU are just killing books this year, huh?
Yeah, LSU. Thank God they were in a game that had a spread like that last week, so it really didn't matter. And they didn't. I don't even think they covered, but it was a small action game. But yeah, anytime LSU is like under 10 and they're playing a team people that are supposed to be okay, they just crush them.
Right. And then what about Clemson, Virginia Tech? That was a result that surprised some people. How did the Sharps bet that one?
Yeah. That was a good game. Right, both sides. It was weird. I had a really, really good guy take me 7 early in the week, and a really good guy laid me 7 on game day. It just depends. They all had their own opinion. After the game, obviously somebody's right and wrong, but that was a good game. Didn't get hurt on it. Probably made a few bucks.
Mm-hmm. And how about Nebraska, Wisconsin? That was a game we covered on SBR, and some our experts picked Wisconsin in that one, even at double digits.
I broke my neck trying to need Wisconsin in that game. I had 10 all week when it was 9. I bet my own money, luckily too. We lost a tiny bit on it, just seeing it on the whole game. So I was happy with that result. That could have been bad, but. All
right, and then were there any other college sides that were notable in terms of sharp action, public action, winning or losing for you?
Let me take a look here. I got beat up pretty bad actually on the Northwestern Illinois game. I kind of. I left at 10 because, I told Billy's guys were in Illinois. The public loved Northwestern, and they were right. Michigan was just, what little action I had was all Michigan and all over, so that was no good. West Virginia crushing Bowling Green was no good. Then you had some games like, Idaho was a sharp side, but only one guy bet it, and I had all Virginia money, so that was okay. Penn State, Indiana was a real sharp side from Mr. Walters too, but I had more Penn State, so that worked out okay. Georgia Tech falling 10 didn't hurt that bad. That was about a wash. Some people won, some people lost. T-Tech, Kansas was bad. Kansas was covering the whole game. They're not covering the whole game. They're playing good the first half. They just blew up in the third quarter, so that was bad. But overall, the whole day, Stanford's always bad. The Stanford and Wisconsin, they're like the same team to me. They kill me every week, no matter how high I make the line. I'm using 24 at post, nothing. But like Arkansas was good. Arizona covering against USC was good. So we made a few dollars Saturday. It wasn't too bad.
Yeah. All right, and then moving on to the NFL, how was the teasers?
Not good. We
Not
beat
good.
Philly, thank God.
Yeah.
I mean, that was the only one, and pretty much the rest of them all got there. I mean, New Orleans, New England, they teased those dogs up, like Cincinnati at home, Kansas City at home. They somehow avoided the Rams even covered teaser, but we didn't have any of those, so that didn't really matter. Atlanta hung on, and they beat their teaser. The actual game that actually helped, there was a few people took the Jets up to 10.5 and 11 in teaser, so that the late game actually helped a little bit. But Sunday, a wash, small winner maybe overall.
Small winner.
Wasn't anything spectacular.
So overall, it seems like a slightly worse than average weekend for you, but not a disaster, slightly winning.
Yeah, right. Small winner, exactly.
Right. All right, and then what can you tell us about early sharp action that you have coming in for next week's games?
Let's take a look here real quick.
Indiana's got to be another sharp side, right?
What's that?
Indiana, it's got to be another sharp side.
Indiana, I was just going to say that Indiana
Right.
is. Just going quickly down the board. Penn State was a Raz game. They laid 2.5. They took Rutgers plus 7.5 was a sharp game. Trying to feed down the line here. Arizona State -3 was a pretty good crew. Just looking at a few other ones. Your Stanford -27.5 or 8 was Raz. Going down the list, I got some pretty sharp guys. Well, one of the same guys last week took a bite too, but betting against Notre Dame, I got some sharp guys on Air Force plus 16.5. Got some sharp guys on Kansas plus 33. I'll believe that when I see it. And then Texas A&M -7 is a really sharp side. That might have had a little to do with the receiver being out too,
Right.
but A&M's a sharp side. And then, I got Nebraska and LSU money, and I expect to get probably more on both. But, I mean, Florida, the 14-point dog, and they look like they might lose 38-6. We'll see what happens, though.
Right. What about Philly? You think people are gonna bet Philly again, and you're gonna need Buffalo to win in the NFL?
It's a tough call. I don't know. Buffalo, because now they're kind of a little darling team. They can score points. The public likes them. That might be a back and forth.
Right.
I would like to see Philly blow them out and beat teasers. That's probably what I'm going to need,
Right.
or somehow the game to go under. But that's not going to happen.
All right.
It'll probably be like 34-31 Philly, and I'll get screwed.
Yeah. All right. Thanks so much, Doc. We'll speak to you next week.
All right, buddy. Bye-bye.
All right. Thanks.